everyone, and welcome back to English for You. I'm Erin.
And I'm Elsie.
All right, Elsie, we started talking about fairy rings yesterday, and I want to know, have you ever seen some strange phenomenons like fairy rings? Or I shouldn't say phenomenons, I guess. I should say phenomena. That's the plural noun. Some strange phenomena like fairy rings or anything else?
I've seen crop circles on TV before.
Okay.
麦田圈. Some people believe that they were created by aliens. I find those circles really interesting.
I don't think they were created by aliens, but...
Yeah, I don't think so either, but who created them?
Well, I think you
In one day, in one night.
I think...
Let's get into this.
Well, I don't know if we have time, but there's plenty of shows out there that'll give you that answer. Well, I've seen some cool things. I've been to the east coast of Taiwan where I saw water running up. And in fact, there's actually something cool just like that at my home in Canada too. But I'm going to wait until the end of today's article to tell you about it.
Okay, I guess before we hear about that, we have to finish today's article like you said.
That's right. Let's get started.
Reading.
Fairy rings, nature's magic mysteries. Fairy rings may look like they were conjured out of nothing, but we now know exactly what causes them. In fact, the science behind these strange circles is far simpler than you might think. The mushrooms you find on the forest floor might look like a whole plant. However, they're actually just the tip of the iceberg. Large groups of these growths are often joined together as part of a much bigger living thing, the fungus. How do fungi create fairy rings, though? Some types like to spread out in circles as they look for food. As they creep through the earth, they take in nutrients from the soil. The mushrooms then pop up at the edges, creating what is often a perfect ring. In the right climates, these circles can grow to huge sizes. One in Belfort, France, is more than 600 meters across and 700 years old. This ring may not have the power to transport you to another world. However, it is still one of nature's most amazing surprises.
All right, our article starts out by giving us an idea of what we're going to talk about today. It's a good introduction sentence. It says, fairy rings may look like they were conjured out of nothing, but we now know exactly what causes them.
所以我们现在是确切知道到底是什么造成蘑菇圈的 exactly 这个字。Erin, can you tell us more about the word?
So exactly, it is an adverb, and we use this adverb when we want to say that something is precisely correct, true, or a certain amount. Now, we often use it with one of our question words like what, where, when, and who to emphasize what is correct, where is correct, that sort of thing. Now, here, we're saying we know the reason that causes something to happen, and we know for certain, 100%, that only one thing can cause this thing to happen, and that it's not magic. Here's an example sentence. I know exactly where I left my keys. They're in my other bag on my bed.
Exactly 这个副词是精确的、确切的。而且如果你觉得对方说的话是完全正确的时候，你也可以回答 exactly 这个字。那我们在这一句当中还看到 conjure， 它的意思呢就是像魔术般变出来。那在文章呢是使用被动态。They were conjured out of nothing. 所以呢，根据今天文章的第一个句子，我们知道蘑菇环是怎么来的。So what causes them?
Well, we're going to find that out, but before we do, let's see this sentence here. It says, in fact, the science behind these strange circles is far simpler than you might think.
其实背后的科学理论很简单。And the mushrooms you find on the forest floor might look like a whole plant. 它们看起来像是整株的植物。
That's right. So when you see a mushroom on the ground or maybe growing out of a tree or something, you might think, oh, there's that whole mushroom. Maybe it has some roots, but that's basically you're seeing the whole plant. But that is not true.
Oh.
It says here, however, they're actually just the tip of the iceberg. Now, this is a common phrase we use in English, or a common idiom we use in English, the tip of the iceberg. Let's find out more about what it means because it's today's Pocket Phrase Go.
Pocket Phrase Go!
哇，多年前我在山洞里找到的这盏神灯，不仅可以变出美丽的衣服，还可以请我吃大餐。但这些只是精灵的大能力的冰山一角哦。He showed me pretty clothes, nice food, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. 毕竟呢，他都可以把我阿拉丁一个穷小子变成王子啦，有什么是做不到的啦 ？Iceberg 就是冰山哦，冰山露出水面的部分。只是小小的一部分咯，沉在水面下的体积可大着呢。所以咯 ，the tip of the iceberg 就是说呢，冰山一角，一小部分，很多你还没有看到呢。
The tip of the iceberg， 冰山一角，所以那些在地上的蘑菇只是冰山一角。That means there are more mushrooms around the mushroom we see on the floor.
Of. Well, we see the mushrooms that are above the ground, but actually there's just so much more going on under the ground.
I don't want to look at them.
Well, actually, neither do I, but they're actually really cool. They do some really cool stuff. So it says here, large groups of these growths are often joined together as part of a much bigger living thing, the fungus. Now, we talked about fungus a little bit in the day before. We're going to talk more about it here. But first, let's talk about the word growth. Now, here, a growth is simply a thing that has grown. Now, we usually talk about growths in this way when it is something that has grown out of another thing. So, for instance, sometimes mushrooms grow out of trees, so we can refer to them as growths. Hair is another thing that grows, so we can talk about it as a growth too. Like this example. Wow, you've had 2 months of growth since you last cut your hair. It's really long now.
Growth 这个名词呢是生长物或是长成物，那它的动词形式呢我们都很熟悉，是 grow G-R-O-W。那我们这边在句子的句尾看到了 fungus， 它是真菌，那复数叫做 fungi。F-U-N-G-I 在做复数形的时候特别小心哦。所以呢，蘑菇环呢其实是真菌的一部分。至于什么是真菌呢？ Mushrooms and mold are fungi.
That's right. What's a funny way to say that, right?
Right.
English is so funny sometimes. Fungus, fungi.
蘑菇和霉菌都是真菌，然后我们用的是复数形，很奇怪的声音吧 ？Fungi。Okay,
so here the article asks us a question. What is it?
How do fungi create fairy rings, though?
Good question. That's what we're all here for. Well, it says in the article, some types like to spread out in circles as they look for food. Now, when you're looking for something, you actively search by moving around to find something. For example, can you help me look for my glasses? I can't see anything.
Look for something 就是寻找某物的意思。那有一些真菌的种类呢，在找食物的时候会向外延伸形成环状 ，and that's why we see these fairy rings.
So what happens when they start looking for food? It says, as they creep through the earth, they take in nutrients from the soil. Now, this verb, creep, is what we use when we talk about the way a plant grows or moves. So when a plant creeps, it slowly grows or moves along an area of land or other thing. Now here, creep just means that the fungi are slowly moving around under the ground and then up above the ground into a ring. Here's an example. The vines of this plant have crept along the tree's branches.
creep 这个动词呢是攀援或者是慢升的意思，那还可以指呢为避免注意而缓慢行动，悄悄移动。那它的三态啊是 creep, crept, crept。过去式呢跟过去分词的拼法是 crept。那我们还可以说 She crept into the room and took her son's diary away.
Uh-oh.
她进到房间里面，把她儿子的日记拿走。
Bad mom.That
sounds like my mom. OK. 那还有一个常见的片语呢，是 to creep someone out, 也就是令人毛骨悚然。For example, I heard a girl crying nonstop last night. It was really creeping me out. 我昨晚听见一个女生一直在哭，真的是要把我吓死了。And we also saw the phrase take in the sentence. What does it mean?
Okay, so we said that the fungus takes in nutrients. Now, when you take something in this sense, you allow something to enter your body, like air, water, nutrients, things like that. Now, humans aren't the only living things that have to take in nutrients, of course. All plants and animals need to take in sunshine, air, water, nutrients, and other things like that to live. If we don't get them, if we don't take them in, we won't be healthy. Here's an example. Something is blocking his throat. He can't take in any air.
We have to save him. Take something in or take in something 代表的是吸收、吸取某物。那我们这边看到的 nutrient 它是养分或是营养物。所以文章说到呢，随着真菌在土地上漫生，它们会吸取土壤里面的养分。And that's why they can grow.
And then what happens? It says the mushrooms then pop up at the edges, creating what is often a perfect ring. So when you kind of picture this underground, you might think of the fungus as just being a big circle.
Yeah.
And then the mushrooms kind of popping out of the ground at the edge of the circle. So the fungus is kind of moving like it's a big circle that's slowly getting bigger, and then at the edge it pops up.
Okay, to be honest with you, it's really disgusting to me.
Oh, it just
I don't know why.
It just looks like roots.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, what are they doing when they pop up? When something pops up, it appears often in a sudden, unexpected way. This might happen to you a lot on your computer. Like this. If you click this button, a new window will pop up and ask you to enter your information.
Pop up 这个片语呢是冒出来或是突然出现的意思。那文章说到呢，蘑菇就会在边缘冒出来，变成我们看到的蘑菇环。
Okay, so let's learn a little bit more. Now that we know how they work, let's learn a little bit more about them. It says, in the right climates, these circles can grow to huge sizes. Now, what do we mean here by climate? The climate is an area or an area's weather that it usually gets. So, for instance, in Taiwan, there is often a humid, hot climate, which means it's often rainy, it's often warm outside. However, the climate in Canada is quite different. The climate in my area of Canada is often cool and rainy, and sometimes cold enough to snow. Here's another example. Do you know what the climate in Egypt is like? I don't know what clothes to pack for my trip.Climate 这个名词呢是气候。那我们讲到的 global warming 全球暖化导致的气候变迁，所谓的气候变迁就是 climate change。那这篇文章提到呢，在对的气候里面，这些蘑菇圈呢就会变得很大。Like how big? Well, of course, here we are going to give you an example.It says, one in Belfort, France, is more than 600 meters across and 700 years old.
Wow, 这个在法国的蘑菇圈直径600公尺，而且已经700 years old. I can't believe that. 700岁。
And huge, 600 meters across.
直径哦。
That's so big.I
can't imagine.
All right. Well, it says here, this ring may not have the power to transport you to another world. Okay. There's a couple of meanings here that I want to talk about, Elsie.
Okay.
We're going to look at the word transport. Now, transport can mean to to move people or things from one place to another. Okay, like this. A driver will meet you at the airport and transport you to the hotel. So you get in a car, you go from one place to another place. But sometimes transport can mean to cause you to think you are moving from one type of world into a different one, often full of imaginative things like magic, or maybe if you're hearing a story, you kind of go into that story, you start imagining that story. This can often happen when you're playing a video game too. You imagine yourself in the world of the video game. Now, in our article, transport is talking about the first one. It means to go from one world into another world. But when we often think about magic, you can think about transporting yourself into a kind of fairy world. Now, an example sentence for that would be something like, sometimes when I listen to classical music, I close my eyes and the music transports me back in time.
Transport 这个动词呢，它有带到某个地方或是运送某人到某个地方的意思。那我们常听到的 transportation， 那就是个名词啦，代表交通工具，比如说 public transportation systems， 大众运输系统。那这样子的 transportation， 要记得它的拼法是 transportation。Transportation.
All right, so just in that sentence, let's review it just a quick minute. It says, this ring may not have the power to transport you to another world. And then it says, however, it is still one of nature's most amazing surprises.
It certainly is. 那我们这边呢，看到这个句型呢，用来带出这个最高级的群体当中其中之一。For example, Taipei 101 is one of the tallest buildings in the world. 世界上的高楼有很多，那我们台北101是其中之一。那因为强调是其中之一，所以这个句型如果作为主词的时候，后面是要搭配单数动词的哦。比如说呢 ，One of the most exciting movies I've ever watched is Avengers Endgame. 我所看过最刺激的电影之一是 Avengers Endgame， 代表我所看过最刺激的电影有很多，那其中之一就是这一部。那记得one of the 加上最高级形容词，后面你要加上的是一个群体，所以要放上的是复数名词。
All right, well, the adjective we used in that grammar pattern, Elsie, was amazing.Amazing. And we use this word to describe something that's very wonderful or good, often in a really surprising way, such as like this. Have you seen the director's latest movie? I didn't think it would be good, but it was amazing.Amazing
这个形容词呢，解释为令人惊奇的。那如果你要说感到惊奇的，要说你自己的感觉，你可以用 amazed 这个字 A-M-A-Z-E-D. For example, I was amazed at her beautiful voice. 我对她那优美的歌喉感到惊奇。And yes, it is one of nature's most amazing surprises. I mean the mushroom fairy ring.
That is. You know what? Nature just keeps amazing us all the time. I used amazing as a verb there.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've reached the end. We now know what people used to believe about fairy rings and how they actually grow now, which is a pretty cool story, I have to think. I'm still not going to eat any mushrooms. I'm just going to let those mushroom rings grow. Grow, mushroom rings, grow.
Okay, just let them grow, and we're not going to eat them.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're at the end of today's article, but we're going to finish off here with our For You chat.
Okay.
For You chat.
All right, our For You chat question today, Elsie. If you could take a visitor to see an amazing local natural site, what would you show them and why?
I think I would take them to Yangming Shan, Yangming Mountain, to try and see the hot springs there. The natural hot springs.
Not the cement concrete hot springs.
Because I think it's rare for them to see and try hot springs in other countries.
Kind of the natural form. There are hot springs in a few other countries. I've been to some in Japan. I've been to some in New Zealand. I'm not sure if there are any in Canada. Not in my area. Maybe more in the north of Canada. But in my area of Canada, we don't have hot springs. We have cold water.
Yeah, and I think it's rare in the States too, right?
I think so. I don't know much about the natural attractions in the States outside of the Grand Canyon.
They're not famous for it.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they're just not famous for them. All right. Well, there's not a lot of... actually, there is a really cool natural attraction. There's a couple cool ones near my house. The one that's kind of similar to water running up is called the Magnetic Hill.
Whoa.
Now, basically what happens, it's the same natural phenomenon as water running up. We just don't have water moving like it looks like it's moving up, but you can drive on it. So it looks like it's a hill that's moving up, but actually your car is actually moving down.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of
cool. That sounds so cool to me.
Now, we also have another really cool natural site near my house where we have the deepest tides in the world. So when the water moves out away from the land, you can see there's huge rocks that come in, and there's trees at the top of them because they're like huge cliffs. And when the water comes back in, the whole things get covered, and it just looks like there's trees in the middle of the ocean.
Wow, Erin, you're going to take me to your hometown and show me all these things.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Well, what about you guys? There are tons of amazing natural sites here in Taiwan. So where would you take your friends? What cool things do you know about? You guys can talk about those. We are finished for today. So we'll see you next time. For English for You, I'm Erin.
I'm Elsie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Fairy rings, nature's magic mysteries. Fairy rings may look like they were conjured out of nothing, but we now know exactly what causes them. In fact, the science behind these strange circles is far simpler than you might think. The mushrooms you find on the forest floor might look like a whole plant. However, they're actually just the tip of the iceberg. Large groups of these growths are often joined together as part of a much bigger living thing. The fungus. How do fungi create fairy rings, though? Some types like to spread out in circles as they look for food. As they creep through the earth, they take in nutrients from the soil. The mushrooms then pop up at the edges, creating what is often a perfect ring. In the right climates, these circles can grow to huge sizes. One in Belfort, France, is more than 600 meters across and 700 years old. This ring may not have the power to transport you to another world. However, it is still one of nature's most amazing surprises.
Vocabulary Review.
Exactly. Scientists believe there are billions of stars in the Milky Way, but they don't know exactly how many there are. Growth. Every time I see a new growth on one of my plants, I get excited. Creep. This plant has been creeping along the wall for years. Soon, it will cover the whole building. Climate. Thailand is a popular place for tourists because of its tropical climate and beautiful beaches. Transport. This boat transports goods from Spain to China every week. Amazing. It is amazing just how fast Laura can swim. She must be the fastest in the school.
智慧小补帖
Conjure. Fungus. Nutrient.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作。活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000。 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net